Okay, today's lesson is lesson 2.9, use properties of multiplication. Go JJ, learning target.
Use properties to multiply. Success criteria. I can use the commutative property of multiplication. I can use the associative property of multiplication to multiply. I can use the distributive property of multiplication to multiply.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so we can use different properties of yes, you can sit down. Excellent. We can use different properties of multiplication to make it easier for us to multiply. Okay, so let's take a look at Explore. Everyone looking? Okay. Now it says use any strategy to find each product. Explain the strategy you use to find each product. Okay. Now, notice, how many factors do you have in here?
3.
3 factors, okay? So, what I'm going to do, if I look at this, can I change the order of the factors to help me?
Yes.
Okay, but if I change this factor and I say 28 times 24, does that make it a little difficult? Yeah. How about if I put a parenthesis here, right? And I multiply. Right away, can you tell that this makes 100?
Yeah.
Right? Can you tell that makes 100? So that makes it a lot easier, right? Because 25 times 4 is 100. How many of you don't see that?
Not immediately.
Not immediately, but you think about $1. How many 25 do you need?
I just have to think about
Yeah, you have to think a little bit, but you have to be aware that 25 times 4, 25 is a quarter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of $1. So think of that. That's a benchmark, something that we can keep always in mind. So I know that this is 100 right away. Now all I have to do is multiply that times 7. So my answer is 700. So what property do you think this is? The one where No, tell me, what did I do?
I did 25 times.
Okay, which property though is that? Yes.
Distributive.
No, it's not distributive, not distributive.
I know.
Yes.
Commutative property.
Commutative means that I move my yes.
Associative.
Associative. So this is the associative property. One way to remember this, associate. Associate, that means like they're friends, okay? I'm putting them together. Associate. Associate property of multiplication. I didn't have to move my factors. All I did was I added a parenthesis to the 2 factors that makes it easier for me to multiply. Now let's take a look at this one. If you notice, if I multiply the 5 and the 10, and the 2, what do I get?
10.
I get a 10. So in this case, I have to bring what together? I have to move the 2. 5 times 2 times what? Times 79. Why? Because I want to come up with a number that'll make it easier for me to multiply. I know that 5 times 2 gives me 10. Yeah. So then the answer, now I'm just multiplying by a multiple of 10. So it's easier, right? 10 times 79. What will be 10 times 79? 700? 90. All I have to do is add a 0. Did that make it easier for me to multiply? Yes. Now I moved the 2 closer to the 5 to multiply. What property is this? Commutative. Think of commutative as commute. When the word commute means that you move from place to place. So this is commutative. Property. And because I'm multiplying, I'm going to put commutative property of multiplication. think of the word move, right? Did you move? Okay, you see the word community has an M, right?
Yeah.
So every time, if you don't know, like if you get confused between associative and commutative, if you are moving a factor to help you multiply, that means you're using commutative property. The word commute has an M. That's how you can remember, okay? Now let's take a look at this one. For this one, you have a 3-digit number. A 3-digit number. Oh, okay. What can I do to make it easier for me to multiply?
You could distribute it.
I can distribute it, correct. So we already learned distributive using the boxes, right? Now I'm going to do this. 9 times 100 plus 1. Now I can say 9 times 8. 9 times 8 is, boys and girls?
72.
72, and I add 2 zeros. Correct?
Yes.
Now I add, right, because I have to add whatever I get from the partial products. 9 times 1 is 9. So 7,200 plus 9 equals 7,209. And what I like you to do for me from now on is box the answers, okay? I'm going to box them. Why? Because when I check your work, it's easier for me to find your answer, and then I don't get confused with other numbers. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, let's take a look at this one. You have 9 times, and wait, let me write the distributive property. This is distributive property. Just going to write prop of multiplication. Now, 9 times 699. I can also do distributive property. Guess what I'm going to do this time? Yes.
You could do 9 times 600, but also you could split it up with 99.
I could do that, but I can also do something else. Go ahead. Hang on. Santina? I can do what, honey? Partial products? Okay, but we're doing properties. Partial product is a strategy for multiplying. But what property, the partial product is not a property, it's a strategy for multiplication. What property can I use to be able to multiply this to make it easier on me? Yes?
You could do 699 and turn it into 700.
Correct. I can turn this number into a 700. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to distribute. Watch what happens now. 9 times 700. Now, instead of a plus sign, I'm going to subtract. How many digits did I use to make this into a 700? I'm going to subtract a 1. Do you see that?
I did this.
Okay, so now I can distribute 9 times 7, 63, and I add 2 zeros. Now, here, look what happens. Instead of addition, I'm going to subtract because I added a 1 to this factor to make it easier. So 9 times 1. What is 9 times 1? 9. 9. So now I have 6,300 minus 9. What is my answer?
6,291.
There you go. 6,291. And then I'm going to box my answer. That shows my response. Do you see this strategy? This is the same one, okay? We're still talking about distributive. Okay, are there any questions so far on this? Okay, let's do more examples. Let's do more examples. Okay, in this case, it says you can use properties of to multiply. Here we have A times 250. 1 second. Okay, so A times 250 is equal to 4 times 2 times 250. Why is that?
Because 4 times 2 equals 8.
4 times 2 is equal to 8. 4 times 2 is equal to 8. So notice what happened. If I multiply 2 times 250, what do I get?
500.
500. 500. I get a 500 because think about it. 250 plus 250 is 500, right? So what I did is I split this number apart into two factors. So I could get that 2 and then multiply it times the 500. So now I have a what? 500. So now 4 times 5 is 20. And then I add 2 zeros. So my answer is 2,000. So I use the associative property of multiplication. Why? Because I broke this number apart into the two factors that will give you 8. To be able to use that 2 to multiply it by the 250. Are you guys seeing this? This is not the same thing as breaking the number apart by addition. We're breaking it apart into the factors. Sweetheart, sit down, please. If you need a pencil, grab one already sharpened. Do you need it right now? Okay, good. Are there any questions on where that 4 and the 2 came from? Yes.
Why did you put the 2, 2, 2, and instead of a 2 you put a 500?
Because notice this. You have A times 250, right? Okay. And it says I want to use the one of the properties. So when I think of the number 8, okay, I know that the number 8 is the same thing as saying 4 times 2, isn't it? Okay. And now I know I have to multiply that. I have to do times 250. Okay? To be able to get my product. Now, do you see that you have 3 numbers to multiply? Kind of like the example that we had before.
Yeah.
So, I am going to use those 2 factors to be able to come up with a 500. Why? Because it is easier to multiply with numbers that are multiples of 10. Do you understand? So now all I have is 4 times 5, which is 20, and then I add those 2 digits. That's where that came from.
Oh.
You got it? Okay. Now let's take a look at the next example. 5 times 698. Okay, what is the easiest thing to do here? Look what are they doing? They added 2 more.
They estimated.
No, but now I'm going to subtract and estimate. Think about it. I'm going to add 2 more so I can multiply by a multiple of 10. But then I'm going to subtract it. Are we seeing this? Okay, so 5 times 7. 35, and then I add
2 zeros.
2 zeros. Right? Then 5 times 2. 10. Now I need to subtract. Why do I need to subtract? Because I gave this number an extra 2 numbers to be able to come up with the 700. Right? So now I subtract. What is 3,500 minus 10? 3,490. And I box my answer. I forgot to box it here. Box my answer. And again, this is Distributive property. I had to distribute. This is associative. So here it says commutative property. In commutative, what do I need to do? Move, right? I need to move my what? My factors, right? I have to move them. So I have, it says find 4 times 9 times 25. The easiest way to do is move the 4 closer to the 25. Why is that? Because that's going to give me what number? 100. Do you remember I just said that 4 times 25 is 100. Think of a dollar. You need 4 quarters. A quarter, the value of each one is 25 cents to come up with 100 pennies, which is the dollar. Are you paying attention? Okay. So 9 times 100 is 900. And now I'm going to box my answer. Okay. I'm going to do one more example. I'm going to do the try it. I'm going to do try it. This one. You can come up with different properties, okay? But what do you think is the best property for this one? Yes.
I think it is associative property.
Okay, what can we do? Tell me.
So we could do 3 times 150.
3 times what?
150.
3. Well, no, this 6 is 3 times 2, isn't it? Uh-huh. So I am going to do 3 times 2 times 150. Why am I doing that?
So you break it down.
No, think about this. What is 2 times 150? 300, isn't it? You double that. That will be 300 right away. So 300 times 3. Now it's easier for me to do that, right? So 3 times 3, 9, and then I add 2 zeros. My answer is 900. Notice how when I do my work, I have, how many steps do I have? 3. When I look at your work, I don't want to see numbers all over the place. Do you understand?
Yes.
I'm looking at certain people with my little eye that I spy that love to give me little chicken scratches on the paper. Please, okay? I need to be able to understand what you're doing in math. Otherwise, it's hard for me to help you. 1 second. What property was this? This is associative. So you're going to write associative. You see where it says explain your reasoning? You do not have to do that as long as you are identifying the property that you're using. Do you have to explain it? No, but you need to identify it for me. Okay? Please try to use a variety. Don't get stuck to only distributive because in the test you need to be able to identify which property they're using. Okay? All right. Are there any questions on this?
No.
Going once, going twice, bye.